In one of our previous videos, we discussed how China's contribution to the Allied war effort sort of goes under the radar, making a fairly brief reference to the Chinese Expeditionary Force and its exploits in the China-Burma-India theater of the Second World War. In this video, we're going to discuss the Chinese Expeditionary Force, primarily its constituent X and Y forces in greater detail, as the Burma campaign in particular might have gone very differently without the Chinese. Before we get to X-Force and Y-Force, it's worth understanding China's position in the war. To put it simply, it wasn't so good. Since 1927, the Nationalist Party of China-led Republic of China had been at war with the Communist Party of China, and this bloody conflict was merely put on hold when, in 1937, a full-blown war broke out between China and Japan. A little over 2 years later, after hundreds of thousands of Chinese had already been killed, the rest of the world fell into chaos following Nazi Germany's invasion of Poland. Despite being preoccupied with the ongoing Second Sino-Japanese War inside of China, the Nationalist Republic of China wasn't too keen to get put on the spit by the Japanese banzai charging through Burma toward China's southern underbelly. Nor was the Republic eager to forfeit the Burma Road, via which it had been receiving vital supplies from the United States for some time. So the Chinese teamed up with the British, who had been, in classic British style, ruling Burma since 1824. The Chinese units sent to contest the Japanese were collectively known as the Chinese Expeditionary Force. As part of China and Britain's forced bromance, the Chinese Expeditionary Force, comprised of the 5th, 6th, and 66th Army, fell under the command of American General Joseph Stilwell on the ground and Chinese Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek back in China. As you can imagine, not every Chinese soldier was too chuffed about taking orders from a non-Chinese general, and tensions between Stilwell and Chiang only grew as the Japanese bent the Allies over at Rangun and chased them northwards, gutting Burma up the middle. The Allies weren't entirely on their back foot, however. While the Chinese Expeditionary Force weren't able to maintain a front in the heart of Burma, as Allied command had wanted, the Chinese gave the Japanese a seriously hard time in a few battles of note. In the Battle of Taungoo, from the 19th to the 29th of March 1942, the 200th Division of Chiang's 5th Army, which had taken over the defense of the city of Taungoo from the British, held with tooth and nail against an all-out Japanese attack for 10 days before withdrawing, sustaining heavy casualties but also inflicting them in turn. We already covered the Battle of Yananjuang in our aforementioned video, so for those of you who haven't seen that, the general gist of it is as follows. While defending Yananjuang oil fields from the Japanese, some 7,000 soldiers of the British Burma Corps were encircled by many Japanese troops, and when things were looking grim, over 1,100 troops of the Chinese 38th Division penetrated the Japanese encirclement, slaying 700 Japanese troops and winning the battle. Of course, this victory didn't amount to all that much in the grand scheme of the Burma campaign, and the Allies were given little choice but to try and flee the country. Doing so in an orderly fashion, however, was easier said than done. Focusing on the Chinese Expeditionary Force, some Chinese troops went left, on Stilwell's orders, into India, while some went right, under Chinese General Du Yuming, into the Chinese province of Yunnan. While both groups had it rough, the troops who followed Du Yuming to China were pulped in Japanese ambushes and turned inside out by disease. All in all, some 23,000 Chinese troops made it to India behind Stilwell. It's safe to say that the Allies were feeling pretty sorry for themselves after this disastrous defeat, but they were by no means out of the running. From the remnants of the Chinese Expeditionary Force, two major Chinese forces were fashioned. From the troops who fled to India, there was X-Force, which grew to a strength of 5 divisions and some 75,000 troops. And from the troops who fled to Yunnan, China, there was Y-Force, which grew to a strength of 25 divisions and some 175,000 troops. Under Stilwell, some 2,000 American support troops and advisors fell in with X-Force, and the force benefited from American training and equipment. In the words of American General Sir William Slim, commander of the Burma Corps, the most important thing of all was to ensure that the American-trained Chinese not only fought, but fought successfully. No one could do that as well as Stilwell himself. Indeed, he was the only American who had authority to actually command the Chinese. Conversely, Japanese General Tanaka Shinichi stated that the post-Japanese invasion Chinese were far superior in both the quality of their fighting and their equipment. Despite Stilwell's insistence to take charge of the force, Y-Force remained under Chinese command while also enjoying the benefits of American advisors. All in all, it was by far the larger of the two forces, yet not as well prepared as its India-based counterpart. Coordinating with Y-Force, which operated out of China, Slim's Burma Corps, which operated out of India, and various allied special operations units such as Merrill's Marauders, the Chindits, and the local guerrilla force, the Kachin Raiders, Stilwell prepared to take the fight back to the Japanese in North Burma. X-Force and Slim's Burma Corps would open up a front from the north and southwest. Y-Force, despite Chang's reluctance, would open up a front from the east, and the Spec Ops forces would simply run amok in the jungle. Aiming X-Force toward the town of Mogang and the city of Myitkyina, Stilwell intended, in his own words, to go through a rat hole and dig the hole as we go. As it would turn out, capturing Myitkyina on the 3rd of August 1944 was arguably the most crucial victory in the Allied offensive of North Burma, and the American general owed it all to the brave Chinese troops with whom the Republic of China had trusted him. To quote Slim again, he went on to write, "The capture of Myitkyina, so long delayed, marked the complete success of the first stage of Stilwell's campaign. When all was said and done, the success of the northern offensive was in the main owing to the Chinese divisions of X-Force, and that was Stilwell. It was the largest seizure of enemy-held territory that had yet occurred." Throughout the rest of 1944 up until September 1945, the Allied forces launched a series of offensives into Burma, working their way south and ultimately retaking Rangoon. Chang, however, ordered the Chinese troops of X-Force to advance no further than the town of Lashio, which was captured on the 7th of March. And by April, the Chinese troops of both X-Force and Y-Force were booking it out of Burma, with all Chinese units having withdrawn to China by the 1st of July. Allied command wasn't too happy about this, but with the Japanese wreaking havoc in China and a civil war looming just behind the curtain, could they really blame him? Unfortunately for the soldiers of X and Y Force in the world, they were mostly eradicated by the Communist Party of China's People's Liberation Army when the Chinese Civil War resumed. Their combat experience in Burma counting for little at the end of the day. But despite Chang's reluctance to commit Chinese lives to the campaign, it's likely Burma would have been a different story for the Allies. So how do you think things would have gone down? Do you think X and Y Force were crucial to the Allied cause? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And just before you start scrolling those suggested video guys, I have a channel suggestion for you. If you haven't yet checked out our new Brave channel and you're interested in all eras of history and finding out the badasses in these eras, check out our channel called The Braved. It's the first link in the description below. And if you just want to listen to some cool music, some of which we use in the videos here on this channel, then check out our Relax Jack music channel. And if you want to help out our team, get access to a behind the scenes Discord server where you can chat to myself and the team and have access to some exclusive videos, consider donating to the Patreon. And lastly, if you just want to join our wider community, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord, where you'll get access to exclusive content that you won't find on this channel. Anyways guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something new.